Hi, welcome to Infusion Health, the podcast. I'm comedian Chris Patrick, aka self-proclaimed Power Man, and I'm here with my co-host and significant other, Rach.
Hey guys.
Now today this guy wears a lot of hats, so I'm really excited to dive into this to this podcast. He started his own ministry, and he's what you call a radiesthetic practitioner. I'll let him explain that better. But his name is Chris Niesen, and he's going to explain what a radiesthetic practitioner actually does, and he's going to talk about his ministry and all that. So, Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, now, one of the things about you is that you're actually married to one of our guests who's been on the show twice, Mariella, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and we all know Mariella's a Reiki master. She does work in Reiki and stuff like that, and this is her husband. And so what exactly is a radiesthetic practitioner?
Yeah, a radiesthetic practitioner takes and practices radiesthesia, which is a method of measuring energy and applying corrections to unbalanced energy in people, property, animals, the environments. It actually goes way back into the Egyptian times, where even the ancient Egyptians used radiesthetic practitioner type practices.
Okay, so what is you read the energy in a room, or how exactly does that?
Paint a picture.
Yeah, paint
Sure.
a picture.
So you actually tap into the energy and measure it. So one of the key tools that a radiesthetic practitioner uses is a pendulum, and you can use a pendulum in a way. Most people use pendulums to ask mental dowsing questions,
Okay.
which I also am a dowser. But when you actually
what's a dowser?
Oh, a dowser. So dowsers are a lot of dowsers come from a long line of dowsers come from Germany, and dowsers are most famous for finding where to drill wells for water.
Okay.
So you might call them water witchers.
Okay.
And so a lot of dowsers use pendulums or rods for doing their dowsing work. So when you're doing mental dowsing, you're asking questions of a pendulum, and it'll give you a yes or no answer. Or other dowsers have tuned their abilities so they can get answers to questions with numbers or letters, spell out words.
Okay.
When they use dowsing charts, where this is a little different, where you're actually tapping into the energy to directly measure it. And if you've heard of kinesiology, where people do muscle testing to see if they're strong or weak when they introduce a supplement or food or something into their energy system, where they hold out their arm and they push on it to see if they're strong or weak. This is somewhat similar, where you're actually directly measuring the energy and tuning to the energy with a pendulum. The way that I can best describe that is where if you take a musical instrument like a violin or a cello, and you have one of the strings, and that string plays a certain note when you just strum it once. Well, if you take that string and you put your finger on it somewhere on it, you're changing the note.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine the pendulum, and you're tuning the length of the string to the energy that you're measuring. It's a similar vibration, because you're tuning it and pulling in that vibration and measuring where the energy is and how it's affected by the length of the string length of the pendulum.
Yeah.
Similar to how you can change the vibration of a sound on a cello or a violin.
Well, I know.
Does that make sense?
Well, I know, like, when women are pregnant, they can take some people do this. They take a pendulum or whatever, and they put it over the stomach or over the wrist. And if it goes in a circle, it's a boy. If it goes back and forth, it's a girl. I've seen some people do that with pregnant women.
Oh, sure. Now that would be more of a mental dowsing question and answer.
Okay.
So in radiesthesia, when you tap into an energy, the energy flows into your body and shifts and can be displayed through the pendulum. And when you're taking the pendulum and letting the chain length out, the pendulum will shift and change and adjust to the vibration that you're tapping into versus actually asking a question.
Sure.
Okay, so
in ancient times, they would use it in communities to decide where they wanted their spiritual center, their government center, and that kind of thing. So how do you use this today in a community that's already built?
Oh, sure. So how I use this today is I work with a lot with folks that are more energetic sensitive.
Sure.
So, for instance, in today's world with all the wireless technologies and the EMF generated by cell phones and Wi-Fi routers and cell phone towers,
Yep.
Dirty electricity. There's also grid lines throughout the earth that are called the ley lines that also take and transfer and send and pull in sometimes very non-beneficial energy throughout people's homes or businesses, where if you take and add corrections to those, to the properties or to the people that are really sensitive to that kind of vibration, then you can really raise the frequency into a beneficial frequency for them. I can give you an example where there was a farmer who had a garden at his house, and he was having all kinds of troubles growing his tomatoes. And he asked me to come and look at it, and I added maybe 10 corrections through the grid lines that were running through his garden in the spring.
Okay.
Well, in the fall, he had so many tomatoes, he brought me 50 pounds of tomatoes that he couldn't even do anything with that fall because he was overflowing with tomatoes after I just corrected 10 sets of lines going through his garden. It was intense. So it was kind of fun to see that happen that fall.
That's awesome.
So,
a lot of tomato sauce.
Yeah,
I did.
A lot of spaghetti, a lot of pizza, a lot of pasta.
That's right.
So that's my next question is like, okay, who needs a radiesthesia practitioner? I mean, are you sitting at home going, well, I don't know the energy, and let me call Cris, or let me call a radio, are you in the phone book? I mean, who seeks your services?
Yeah, it's usually people who are really energetically sensitive, who notice, or empaths who want to improve the energy balancing status of their house, or any property, or shift things that they're having trouble shifting themselves. Mm-hmm. It's usually those types of folks.
Mm-hmm.
I know for myself, sometimes I just feel like energy, like in a certain area, a block. So you're opening up that block, right?
Absolutely. That is one area you can go really deep into a person's energy field and find root causes of what they're exhibiting in their physical body, emotional body, mental body. And once you find that one root cause deep in the energy field, the things just flip and change. It's fantastic.
Mm. So also too, you started your own ministry. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. I started my own ministry. It's a 508c1a ministry called Energetic Pathways, and the ministry is really about supporting all of those on their path of ascension and transformation as we go through all these major changes here on the planet. The way we support everyone is doing the energy balancing work through radiesthesic practitioner work. We help with life transition support, for instance, helping with like building a Reiki type bridge for those souls that pass over, doing the residential commercial building and land energy balancing using dowsing and radiesthesia work. Reiki energy balancing, and spiritual focused information technology consulting. So we also have all kinds of other partners that we work with, where we can always support anyone on their path with referrals to those folks.
Mm-hmm. So with the path, I mean, so is this ministry? Is this online, or is it? Do you meet like every Sunday, like a church, or?
Not at this time. It's really, we're just getting started here in the last few months. So one of the things we're probably going to start doing here in the next few months is doing some drumming circles locally in the Twin Cities area. We may start having potentially some more consultative type work, helping others create their own 508c1a ministries so they can fulfill their spiritual mission, while being fully compliant with IRS regulations about tax avoidance versus tax evasion. Creating a ministry really helps with your purpose, right? So your spiritual purpose, where if you fulfill your spiritual purpose, you get the tax benefits of fulfilling your spiritual purpose. So, that's really where we're at now. But we're looking at expanding, and we're open to wherever our spiritual path takes us.
So you said 501c3, exactly. That means nonprofit, right?
There's a difference. So a 508c1a is a nonprofit ministry.
Okay.
The 501c3 is also a nonprofit, but they have more reporting requirements where they have to open their books to, say, any governmental agency that may ask to look at those books, where a 508c1a is completely shielded and does not have to be that open as a 501c3 does.
Mm-hmm. So the thing so the people out there realizing, want you to know that if you like, hey, I'll start a ministry, you can't make a profit, meaning that everything that comes into it has to go back into the church.
Correct. Yep.
So don't go out. Now there's this
Chris
YouTube.
has a problem with evangelistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's this YouTube video where this guy's getting a preacher's getting edited by the IRS, and he's buying cars to stretch into limos and all that, and he's using, and let's just say, when you're doing that as a nonprofit and you're calling yourself a church and nonprofit, I just want the listeners to be aware that you can't do that, because you will get popped by the IRS.
There's definitely, you have to do it with honesty and integrity. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to the balancing work, like Rachel was talking about, do you work, like you've worked with farmers with the land and stuff like that. What other people have you worked with? Who's actually called you up to seek your services besides the farmer?
Some business owners had me come and do this work at their home and their business, and have noticed a dramatic shift just in how they feel more safe, more secure in their home. Business has shifted and changed, where they are attracting more reliable clients, and clients that are more in line with their values and what they are trying to achieve in their business.
For me, I would probably use it for creativity opening.
Right. Absolutely.
So with as we're coming out of COVID, a lot of people were working at home and a lot of people were at home. Did that make energy better? Did that shift energy?
Did COVID make energy better? Did it shift?
I'm saying in the homes, because a lot of people weren't going into work; they were working at home, and a lot of people were at home more and stuff like that with their families. Did that make energy?
I would think it would make the home a more confusing environment and block it in some ways. Is that right or not?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's created a lot of challenges, because everyone being home all the time really caused problems between many families, because they're just not used to being together that much. And then they have their business problems that they're trying to solve in their home instead of keeping that at the office. It's always at home now, as well as their family problems that they're trying to solve, going along with all the pandemic problems. So I think it all really expanded, and but it also did create a lot of opportunities for folks to go off on their own, create their own businesses, to give them time to expand their own and reflect on what they're supposed to be doing in this incarnation. And so I think it's done a lot of good and it's done a lot of bad. So I really think it really depends on how the people took on and embraced what was happening during the pandemic.
So somebody creating their home, knowing that they're working at home, or calling you for services in a home that they've already built. I think it's a little bit beyond, this space is for work and this space is for that. You kind of like read in the home where the best spaces are or not.
Oh, absolutely. I think that really does help to have a dedicated workspace in the home versus sharing it with, you're doing your business at the dinner table versus
your
doing
bedroom.
business in the basement, right?
Yeah.
In your own
Your bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some ways to be positive in your life, to have to keep good energy going through your life, through your day-to-day life?
I would say one of the best things you can do is breathe, especially during stressful situations. If you notice yourself breathing in your upper body versus if you're breathing in your upper body, it's going to create more anxiety. It's going to be very stressful. If you can just catch it when you're feeling stressed and just consciously breathe out with your stomach, slowly in and out, that's really going to help you come back to center and deal with that high stress situation in a far better way.
Mm-hmm. So with that, because we go through our day-to-day lives, and I don't know about most people, but I try to be positive all day and try to keep a positive attitude. But then there are those days when you have, this is going wrong or this is going wrong. You're driving home, you get a flat, and
I don't think it's necessary. This is going wrong and this is going wrong. I've seen an energy shift in you personally, because now you're wearing even another hat. You're wearing that business hat, and starting a business and stuff like that on top of your 2 jobs and helping me with kids and helping me with podcasts.
Well,
so like bringing more things onto your plate can also cause that energy flux, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, and sometimes those are just messages saying, I might have taken on too much. I may need to slow down, where the energy is just kind of saying, I want to do a lot more, but I am limited in this physical realm because I can only do so much in the physical world, right?
Yeah.
And things just start to give you certain messages like that. It might not be like an electromagnetic frequency type of block, right? It's more of a I'm committing to too many things, and it's getting to be overwhelming and creating a little bit of chaos in my life, kind of a message. Does that make sense?
Well, what I found out with me was that there are things that there are some of the little things I shouldn't have to worry about. So I'm constantly on the kids. It's like, you guys got to keep the house clean, because it's something I don't want to worry about. That's something I need. And I found out, and I've done this before, where I've taken on too much, and there's times when you have to tell people no, or I can't do this unless I'm getting paid because I got this going on. But I've also, our kids are older, so it's like, okay, you guys got to keep the house clean. It's up to you, because this is something I don't have time to worry about right now. I can't focus on this. You guys have to do this for me to keep this off my plate, so I can take care of everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And help out with cooking, help out with whatever they can when they're at their appropriate age. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's things, there's other things I can't do right now. I can't get out. Well, I'm not on the golf course right now.
I think a good, strong example was when my brother came to town and you had to work on your business.
Yeah. Yeah. He thought I didn't want to be around him at all. I'm like, no, I'm just,
Busy.
weekends come, I'm a hermit. But that also comes with thing too, to where sometimes you gotta let some things go, like Rach said, I work 2 jobs, but then there's also the fact too, where it's like, okay, I can't work all these days anymore because I gotta focus on this. Even though I'm not making money, I need the time to take care of this.
Right. Yeah. When you're going into business for yourself, there's definitely a big give and take where you got to figure out what works for you and when it does. And a lot of times you're not getting paid to do that. So it's an investment in yourself.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you find out that it's a marathon, not a sprint,
Right.
Yeah. So what is, if has anybody ever came to you about energy as far as like attracting more money?
Not specifically. It's honestly when you're in a balanced state and your home is balanced, and if you can as much as possible balance where you're working, not only will your health improve, but your whole life improves because everything's flowing, including money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it also helps with you coming in and helping people with the mental blocks and the creativity blocks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To align your body and align your home with the right energy so you don't feel these blocks.
Exactly.
So why do you think people, like in bad relationships and stuff like that, why do you think people, it's like, okay, he or she's no good for you. He or she's no good. Why are you staying in this? Why are you staying in this rut when you can? And then once they leave that person, they're like, man, I feel like this big weight. Well, you should have did that sooner. Why do you think people stay constantly stay in this bad energy?
I think it has, there's a few factors. One is, due to fear of change. Change is hard.
Yeah.
And doing that inner work, that shadow work like this, when that your partner is not good for you at this point, is very difficult. You may have a lot of things that are intertwined with that partner where separating from them is very challenging. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a big part of it. And also it's, it's breaking the routine, going into something new, is something that's, it's very scary. So, but then there's some people who thrive on that. Right. So it really is more about, I think, getting people out of their ruts and helping them realize that they are in this rut, and the rut may not be caused by them specifically. It's caused and co-created between whoever they're involved with at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, like you said, some people are hard to follow change, are hard to accept change, and sometimes the change is, and it's been proven that a lot of people go like, once I left this job, I'm not making as much money, but I'm much more happier because I left this job and I'm doing this now. And I think what people need to understand is when they feel that, that's that energy shift, because you were used to your regular significant other, you were used to your regular life and stuff like that. And it was all restricting on you. And when you feel that moment, it's an energy shift.
Absolutely. It does. And the shift sometimes is too much of a shift for someone to feel, or it's too much for them. And they're not ready for that shift, even though they know they need to do it. And maybe they want to find the right time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's happened to me several times throughout my life. It's tough, but
Yeah.
you know, sometimes they also come across someone that inspires them to make that shift,
Right.
Yeah.
and to help support them on that shift, on their journey through that shift.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of their sign to say, okay, it's time for me to do this because I have the support I need now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is sometimes you just gotta look at the change and accept the change and accept it for the better. It's like this is gonna make a change for the better, not for the worse.
Right.
I know my biggest energy shift that I ever felt is with my ex-husband. We had been trying for about 16 years, on and off and on and off and on and off, with the 5 kids and everything. And I was finally told by a neurologist that I would be gone in 5 years if I didn't change my energy. I didn't change my stress level. If I didn't change this. So when I decided to finally leave my ex-husband, I dropped him off in the Twin Cities. We had a great weekend with the kids, and on the way home, I literally felt like rain. This energy, this de-stressing of the whole relationship. And I think some people just don't realize that could be waiting for them.
Absolutely. It's amazing when you make that decision to create that, to take that leap, how things shift and how they change on how you feel. When you listen to your intuition and make that leap.
But I want to change this back into the intent of this episode, and that was to change the energy that's going on in your life in the present moment, or in your home, or in your business. So how about you give me another example of somebody you've worked with? Paint the picture for me.
Sure. So there was a business owner I worked with who I balanced her home and her business, and I actually did some IT work for them as well. And she was running some challenges with some clients, and as things started to get balanced in the properties and her business and her home, some of the clients that weren't falling in line with her beliefs and her and were very challenging started falling away, and then new clients started popping up to replace them, and even more clients. So her business actually shifted to work with clients that were more in line with her beliefs and her energy, but then she actually gained more clients after that, because it seemed like the other clients that were not in line with her energy were actually slowing her down and holding her back because they weren't in line and aligned with her.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing too, is make sure people are in line to your beliefs and what you want to do as far as you going forward.
It makes a big difference to keep the flow going with the energy flow going with not only with your personal relationships, but also your business relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So this has been an interesting talk, Cris. If people want to find out about your ministry, is there a website, or is there something they can get a hold of you?
Oh, absolutely. Energeticpathways.org is the spiritual ministry website, and you can find all my contact information on the website. Okay,
and as far as you can.
And he'll send me that link so you guys can have that in the description.
Energypathways.com.
Energetic
pathways.org. Okay, energeticpathways.org. And if you that you can get a hold of Cris, and if you want him to come over and get your energy right in your house or your business, definitely you need to seek him out. And I'll let Rach close us out.
Cris, thanks for joining us. On here, history is born on lines of hate. On here, we're trying to build lines of love and make you guys your best advocate. Go open your energy. Have a great one.
Take it easy.